Welcome. We're back for another episode of the Gumbo Pot Podcast. It's your boy, Nigel Henderson, a.k.a. Nigel with the Knife, with my trusty, dusty homeboy.
The dustiest homeboy, apparently. What's up, everybody? This is Omar saying hi to everyone out there listening in.
All right. What's up, Omar? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just hanging out at the house as per usual.
In the middle of quarantine. Yep, we ain't doing shit.
I know.
How's the podcast?
It's good. It's good. The other podcast, obviously, We Everywhere Baby, is the one that I do with my girlfriend Nadia, fiance now. Nadia, don't tell her that I didn't say fiance.
Congratulations, it's recorded.
And it's going real good. We do 2 a week. So, but no video like this, no interaction with people from other houses. So that's what this is for.
Okay. Well, this interaction today, we have a very special guest. She's kind of a phenomenal woman. She's a good friend of mine. She graduated from an HBCU, Clark Atlanta University. She runs her own production company, Mills Avenue Media. Excuse me. I don't want to mess it up. She might beat me up later on. Her name is Tiffany Mills, and we have her in the house. Hey, Tiff, how you
doing? What up?
Welcome to the Gumbo Pot Podcast. Thank you for joining this ragtag group of guys for this podcast. The homies. Before we kick everything off, in true Gumbo Pot fashion, we have to cheers. So I'm going to start it off. I made kind of a hood old-fashioned. Notice there's no orange or cherry, just a little bit of brown and ice. What you working with?
Me, I have a very bougie tequila with fresh squeezed pineapple juice and a lime.
Fancy.
Yeah, very, very fancy.
Nice. Did you say fresh squeezed pineapple juice?
Fresh squeezed pineapple juice from my pineapple farm in the backyard. No.
Nice. Oh, wonderful. I'm just drinking whiskey.
Right.
Yes, yeah, you know me, man. Always drinking whiskey. This time I don't know if you can see it, but I finally got one of these little like big ice cube makers. So it had like a big spear. Mm-hmm. So now I'm feeling a little bit fancier like Tiffany.
You fancy.
Well,
cheers, guys.
Booyah.
Hey, cheers.
Booyah. There we go. Just get a sip. Make sure eyeballs were used and connected, because you know what happens if there's no eyeballs.
No, what happens?
Well, I've heard, and I don't want to find out if it's true or not, but if you cheer someone without looking them in the eyes, you're going to have like 7 years bad sex. So I don't know if it's true, but I don't want to find out. So you better look me in my eyes.
Look at me in my eye.
I always lean back and go, but I'm still having sex, though.
Until you're not.
So it's not
because your sex is
total
bad.
Loss.
Leave it to Omar.
Oh my God.
Well, we've gotten the pleasantries out of the way. And, the Gumbo Podcast is basically the homies having a conversation with a special guest, and they kind of give us the lay of the land about themselves. So, Tiff Mills, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from? What you do? Who you are.
Okay. Let me give my disclaimer first. This is round 2 for me.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
Even better.
Right? Okay, so that's my disclaimer. But so I'm from LA, born and raised.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Hamilton High School, Hamilton Music Academy to be more specific.
Okay.
But I grew up in Gardena and Compton, so all of my from junior high on up was just bus to the other side of town to go to the performing arts schools. Oh shit! I got up early. I got up at like 5:30. Yeah, yeah. I had to be on that school bus at like 6:30 for the hour ride.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
That was
So
painful, but you know.
what would your schedule be like, just like on a normal day? Because it's a performing arts school, so you're not doing like your normal subjects, right?
Yeah. So in high school, we were probably out of school. We went from like 8 to 4 because you had all of your performing arts classes that you had to take to in between your regular academic classes. And then you were after school for a couple of hours for rehearsals or performances or going somewhere for some performance, because our school in particular worked a lot with different, music industry companies and film companies. So if they needed like a kids choir or some dancers to perform at whatever, we were usually a part of that. So my schedule was crazy, but it started crazy in junior high. Junior high is when I started it.
Oh, okay.
So remember back in the day.
What was the concentration?
So in junior high school, my concentration was media at first.
Oh.
So do you guys remember, and I don't know if you remember when you were going to a new school, you got like this whole little magazine on different schools that were in the LA area, or if they were, I don't know if they were trying to put you in like a magnet program. It was like, oh, you can go visit this school, that school. So I was going to school, elementary in Compton and Carson, but I wanted to be in entertainment. I knew at a very young age, but I didn't necessarily want to be an actor. So I was really trying to figure it out. So when I went to junior high school, my concentration was media. Like I started studying media.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Immediately. Like I was immediately in my career at like age 12. And then when I was there, that's when I discovered dance and choreography, a little bit more concentrated than what my mom had me in, like in elementary school, like tap classes and things like that. So I kind of was always on the same path.
Oh, damn. And then Clark Atlanta University has a mass comm department that's world known. Well, some people don't know that it's world known, but it's world known.
Oh, they know. Even if they don't know, they know. They know.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, one of our Morehouse, we claim him, but he took classes. Spike Lee took classes at Clark Atlanta.
Classes by Dr. Eichelberger at Clark Atlanta University.
Yes, indeed. When I was in school at Morehouse, I took classes there. All my radio, TV, and film classes.
Wait. How do you get to claim him then? How does this
graduate?
Because his degree says Morehouse. He's still in Morehouse.
Okay.
Technically. But the skill set that we've all come to love and enjoy was reared at the illustrious Clark Atlanta University in the mass communications department. Mm-hmm.
And so the skill set is there, but then he got those concepts, or the basis for these stories all over the AEC.
Yes.
And especially at Morehouse. I'm just going to say that, but we know. Yes, indeed.
Are there any other people in that kind of with that argument, like that you guys can have, or is it just Spike Lee?
Sam Jackson.
Like, are there? Okay, is it the exact same thing?
Exact same thing.
He took his comm classes there?
Yeah, and theater. He studied theater from the professors at Clark Atlanta because we were the school that had it.
Exactly.
Had those classes.
And I believe he got kicked out for holding some faculty hostage at Morehouse and then was let back in after.
Give me a name, motherfucker.
Hey. Same Sam Jackson.
Right.
So, I know we jumped all the way to college, but you knew in high school and in elementary school where you kind of wanted to go, and you wanted it to be in media. Now, was there a specific spot, or were you just like, this is where I'm trying to soak up all the knowledge?
Yeah, I just wanted to be Debbie Allen. That's it.
Indeed.
Everything.
Right.
She's a dancer, she's an actress, she's a director, she's a choreographer. And at some points in my career, because in my mind, my career started when I was 12, because that's when I knew for sure this is where I want to go. So at some points in my career, I've been able to do all of those things. So, you know, even my acting, it was on your student level, but, you know, I jumped in some student films and got to do that sort of stuff, or would find myself ditching school, going to be in music videos and stuff like that as video girls.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you know, just playing some extras in the background.
Time out. Rewind.
I don't have that on the resume.
That didn't show up on IMDb.
What videos were you in?
First of all, let me be clear. I was not a featured video girl. Okay, I was 17, and I was the extra in the background, like, you know. But I don't know. What's a video? Snoop and Exhibit. What's the Snoop and Exhibit song?
Ooh, I'm drawing a blank. Omar, you should get
Bitch, please. Bitch, please.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that video shoot. That and do you guys remember the song with Ice Cube? All I want to do is have fun with my loved ones, my relatives, and my cousins. Yeah. I was one of the relatives and the cousins.
So you got it early.
Yes. So yeah, I used to do that kind of stuff.
I love
so
that.
as long as it was entertainment, I was into it.
Nigel, wasn't there a rumor that there was some girl at our school that was the girl from that
Doing It video?
Snoop song? Yeah.
Oh, the Snoop song? I know the Doing It video with LL Cool J.
What, LL?
St. Bernard.
No, okay, yeah. No. I know that one. But there was another one that somebody had said that that I See the Same Ho song, whatever. It's about a girl that was in our high school that was in all of those videos that they reference. But if you didn't hear it, then it was probably just some bullshit.
I did hear that.
So it's not. It's true.
I mean, it's a rumor. I can't confirm nor deny.
It's something that I heard on the street. You're not being nasty.
I didn't say anybody's name. I was just wondering if he had heard it as well.
I did hear it. I definitely heard it.
Purely academic.
Lord have mercy.
That was the era of the video girl.
Man, everybody was trying to be in somebody's
They were like
video.
famous. Yeah.
I had friends that.
But I was trying to be a casting producer. I was like, so how do I work with you guys?
Smart.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. So you're smart. I was smart, cuz.
You smart. So what was the deciding factor for you to go A, to a HBCU, but then B, Clark Atlanta University?
Well, Clark, the communications department was on point even then. So, you know, I knew I wanted to go to a black college because, again, everything Debbie Allen in my mind was just the way to go. Like, I just kind of set that as my focus. And you see shows like A Different World and stuff like that, and you think, oh, that's what it's going to be when you go. I knew I wanted to go away. I used to travel to Atlanta and Alabama every summer as a kid with my grandparents. So I had some sort of connection to Atlanta. So it was like, it was a no-brainer for me. I only applied to Clark, Spelman, and Northridge just to say that I applied to California school. Like, I knew I wanted to go to Clark.
Come do this.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll do these other ones, but I'm out of here.
I applied to Clark. They weren't helping your brother on that financial aid. They was like, here's $700, brother.
Yeah.
Hope you can get in here.
Yeah. They kind of did me the same way, but good old Dr. Brazil.
Booyah. A Los Angeles legend.
Los Angeles. And how about I got rejected from Clark Atlanta first because I was not the best high school student.
It's crazy. They did not want me.
They didn't want you?
Omar was
but
like,
had you had Dr. Brazil to help you, Dr. Brazil helped me, you know, write a letter of appeal because that's what the school that I wanted to go to. And I got in.
That's excellent. That's a great story for sure. That's dope.
Yeah.
Low key, Dr. Brazil is responsible for a lot of people of color in Los Angeles having the ability to go to college. Like he helped
Yeah.
people apply, fee waivers. There's a lot of controversy, but that man put a lot of people into college, and
Yes, he did.
he's no longer with us, but he's a legend. I'm sorry, LA owes him a debt,
Yes, they do.
or Black LA, or LA. I like
Yeah.
LA.
LA does.
Yes,
Nice.
indeed. So we're at Clark Atlanta University now.
Mhm.
You're in what's your specialty now? Where's your focus? What's tell us about that situation?
So at this time, at 18, I wanted to be Barbara Walters. This is what I focused. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be Barbara. I'm gonna do the journalism thing. I used to practice in her voice.
Big hair?
This is 2020. I would do the whole news anchor thing. And so my focus was journalism. And so when you come in as a freshman at Clark and you come in knowing that you want to do journalism, it's a lot of learning how to report the news, especially at this time, because it wasn't how it is now, digital and things. You're still like watching the news. You have to learn how to find the stories. It was all about finding the stories and things like that. And there were so many good professors at Clark that were professionals in news that worked in the mass comm department. So we were really lucky to have those people to give us sort of the hands-on training. But then when I realized that I had to take so many math classes for the journalism requirement, I sought out another concentration. Because
so much
math
math?
has never been my subject. Never been my subject.
Why so much math?
I don't know
for
why there was
journalism?
so much math. I have no idea. And by the way, so much math for me could have been one accounting class. I just wasn't doing it. So, it's just, I wasn't doing it.
With that.
So I switched over to radio, TV, and film, which that ended up being where I needed to be all along anyway. So that kind of pulled me into the television department, pulled me into the film department, started hanging around the film students, the TV students. I spent all my time in the mass comm department. I never left from beneath that library. That's why some folks from the AUC, I don't remember, because I'm like, if you didn't walk those mass comm halls, I probably never saw you. Yeah. And yeah, I got sucked into, I got a random call to my dorm one day from this guy. He was an upperclassman, but he worked in the film department, and they had like stuff on CAU TV, and they were making little student films. They were kind of like the popular guys in that department. And I got a random call to my dorm room, and he's like, hey, we have this show. It's a music video show. We were wondering if you could just come host it. We have to interview lay Nubians. And I was like, no, I'm not ready. I can't do it. And they were like, what? I was like, no, I'm not. What? I've never done an interview before. You want me to interview a celebrity? I know that's what I'm here to do. No, that's what I'm going to do. But now you want me to actually do it? No, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. And so I told him no, and then I regretted it for like weeks.
Oh, so you didn't happen at all?
No, I was too afraid to do it. And then they ended up calling me back again a few weeks later, and they asked me again, like, hey, whoever the girl was that was the normal host of this show that they were trying to get off the ground, I don't know if she was pledging or had some other sort of obligation that was pulling her away, which happens a lot in, student TV departments. And they asked me to come again, and this time they needed someone to interview Ice Cube. And I was like, what?
I'm going to interview him, yes. He's from the coast.
West Side. West Side. West Side for Leah, actually. West Side for Leah. Just to be...
That's all it took. She's like, Lay Nubian, not ready. Ice Cube, I am ready. I'm 100% ready.
I don't know what I'm going to say.
Did he say, yay?
Ice Cube, I was there. It was the worst interview that I've ever done in my life.
Oh, tell us about it. Tell us about it.
I mean, well, first of all, I thought I was the shit because I got in the back of his limo with him. This when limos were still cool, by the way. This was 1998. So we just got in the back of his limo. I couldn't even explain how this was happening and why we had the credentials to be there, how we managed to get the Ice Cube interview, because it's me and another guy with the camera who's also a student, and probably an audio person who's also a student. It's just some students doing some shit, and he's letting us follow him around. And I remember we went to Maestro's or some fancy restaurant like that, and we're in like this private room, and I had never been to a fancy restaurant before ever in my Compton, California life. And so they're bringing out the food to show you what's on the menu. Yeah. And I just acted like I was supposed to be there. They're bringing out the food. That's the menu. They're displaying it. I was like, what is this fancy shit? There's no menu. Like, had the best meal I ever had. And then we got back in the limo, and then we were allowed to ask him some questions. And I felt like I had the whole West Coast on my back at the time. So I felt obligated to ask him when was the next West Side Connection album, because at that time we only had the one, and I was obsessed with it. So I wanted to know when they were getting back in the studio, and I probably asked him that about 3 or 4 times, and I just remember him being confused, annoyed,
He's like,
but polite.
The same question.
Because he never gave me a definitive answer. That's what he never gave me a definitive answer, and I needed to know.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
So, that's dope. I mean, those are those experiences that you can look back and be like, ooh, I've grown. But it's still like,
from a mighty long way.
Hey, you did it. You put with the whole West Side Connection on your back. I love it. Hey, but that's dope. I definitely remember taking classes there, and I just love going to Clark to take classes, period. But I did learn a ton of shit in those classes. I did radio, TV, and film, but it was more of a business background. And I don't know how or where we met, and we may have met in those hallways. But
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, I don't know when it happened.
But it's all AUC love, and
right, exactly.
Don't ever.
I feel like it's just been that from the start, and then we just kind of moved on like it was regular. Like, okay, family. All right, great.
I know exactly. Oh, was it Olive Branch, the big party? He was crip walking. Oh, that was you. Got you. Yeah. Omar's like, I don't know anything that
in
they're
the dress
talking about
with the
right
chucks.
now. Yeah, that did happen. So it was.
Yes.
So we're past Clark, and now we're into what stage? Have we already created this production company, or are we in the trenches trying to figure it out? Where are we post college?
Yeah, graduated from Clark, and was like, what the heck am I gonna do? Because I'm not going back to LA. Got a phone call like a week or so later from a woman that I had met probably in the first semester at some random networking event at Justin's that I went to. And she worked at Violator Management in New York. And she said, hey, did you graduate yet? Because we're looking for a new receptionist and wanted to interview you. Oh, yeah, I did graduate. Cool. Can we interview over the phone? She was like, no, but can you be in New York on Thursday? I was like, sure. And then I hitched a ride with my boyfriend at the time. His friend just happened to be driving home to Connecticut, where they were from. And he dropped me off in my business attire that the HBCUs teach you that you have to wear after graduation.
Oh, yeah. In
the middle of August, in my long sleeve and long pants, straight from Rich's business attire. On the corner of 23rd and Broadway in New York City, and I had never been to New York City before in my life, and found my way to Violator Management to get my first post-college job. Because for me, I had to stay in entertainment. It didn't matter what the field, what it was, because it was all relevant. And I still believe that, like it's all relevant. So I started in the music industry, and that was a lot.
And so through Violator, which, I mean, Nori, Busta Rhymes, Fat Joe,
50
a
Cent.
little bit of 50 at one point. Yep, like you.
50 at the very beginning.
Okay, yep. You were in the trenches. You were
Yeah.
in New York. So,
I was in New York, and so I ended up moving in with my college roommate from freshman year in Beckwith Hall. Her parents took me in. They lived in Queens, and I moved into their basement. And so I would commute to Violator, and I think I was making like $365 a week. Oof. Don't that hurt your soul? I don't understand how I ate.
Like,
Then I had the nerve to try to move out of their house and get my own apartment.
Like,
I did that twice and ended up going back to them.
Hey,
girl, with $365. They're like, every time, come on back. Come on back.
And each time you were like, yeah, I'm coming back.
I was like, thank you. But yeah, so my experience at Violator, I just, now as my grown self and I look back, I'm so happy that I started there because it thickened my skin immediately. You know, this was still during the kind of puffy fly era of things. So that was the industry, that was the vibe, that was sort of like what Black excellence was to kind of all of us coming out of school and going into the entertainment world. At that time, we were trying to find our way and achieve that. And working under Chrisley and Mona Scott in, what was this, 2002, definitely prepared me for a disgusting television business. I knew how to handle it. I knew how to deal with people talking to you crazy and, you know, just how to be cutthroat. I got to hear so many different phone calls and so many conversations in that office. Our office got shot up. I almost died. Like, it was a whole thing. You know, it was a lifestyle at that time. This is 50 era straight off the streets. This is 50, like, mixtapes are done and now we're making a real album era, just to kind of put you in the mind of where things were. Because Kanye West just had the car accident, jaws wired shut. Yeah. All this was happening through the Violator offices. Yeah.
So yeah, you cut your teeth. You definitely cut your teeth because Violator, the people behind Violator, they were titans in the business and still are. I mean, responsible for a lot of careers. I mean, we're talking to a piece of one of those offspring of those in the industry. So yeah, working with and being under those, those individuals, excuse me, I'm pretty sure they kind of directed you to know that there's no ceiling for you and you can do it on your own. I mean, that's Mills Ave, right? I mean, tell us about
pretty
that.
Much. Yeah, so Mills Ave, that sort of came out of my experience in reality television and the types of stories that I was telling over and over and who was telling the stories. Because the point of me creating Mills Avenue Media is to have a space for a new generation of storytellers and for people to sort of take the old way of doing things and marry it with new media or new ideas, concepts that are typically rejected in television. Because what I'm most interested in is people and their stories. Like, I really believe that everyone has a story. You know, once I started discovering reality television and getting into it, which the same way as everyone else from our generation, which was watching The Real World and seeing what that was. But the social experiment of it all and realizing that you can connect to these strangers that you don't know by just kind of watching them live out their lives. You know, I was just very drawn to that. So mix that with a bit of a journalism background and how story is told and like the 101 basics of telling a story. I love it, you know, and I try to bring it to every set that I go to and kind of bring that energy to the producers, especially the young producers that are working on these shows. And so the same thing with Mills Ave. You know, we're telling stories there, and a lot of it sometimes is just about the storyteller. Like, I really love behind the scenes stuff. You know, I grew up being obsessed with like the shows that would come on MTV, like Diary, or when they would show the making the video of something. Exactly. You know, the people that sort of put the stuff together, it's always fun to pull that curtain back.
Like and
I try to inject that a little bit. Yeah, exactly. And I try to
Well,
inject that a little bit into the shows that I do because they don't always go for it.
I got a question because you were talking about working in reality TV, right? So are we
Mhm.
talking 2002 or like later, like
When did I start working in?
2007?
So I started working in reality TV. So my first job in TV was like a show called 50 Celebrity Breakups, and I did a show called All Access NASCAR Fever. This was before VH1 had the shows that it has now. That was their programming. And so because VH1 fell under MTV Networks, I had MTV Networks on my resume and people were drawn to that. So it got me more interviews and things like that. At that time, all there was MTV Networks. This was like 2003, 2004. And then I started stalking the casting director or being persistent. Every other Monday at 4 p.m. she would get an email from me because I wanted to work in casting on the Real World. And just one summer, I emailed her that she had an intern that went to Clark that I met through a friend. Mm-hmm. And she was like, hey, I can just give you her email address, blah, 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 blah. They love me. So at that time, I was like, another Black girl from Clark, they'll probably love you. Come on. And so I emailed her and she's like, oh, we're not hiring, but just stay in touch. So I did every other Monday at 4 o'clock. Are you hiring yet? Are you hiring yet? Are you hiring yet? Like, and so that went on for 3 months. And then they finally brought me on as a casting assistant. Yeah, give this bitch a job so she can stop emailing me, please.
Hey, but persistence works.
Exactly.
And it worked in your favor. I mean,
yeah, so that started early 2000s.
Well, the reason for those like dates that I was giving you was because, those are like the big writer strikes. And usually reality TV gets those booms when, scripted television isn't being made. Well, my question was like, it was geared towards the years that you worked in reality TV, only because I know, I was saying like whenever there's a writer's strike, that's when reality TV seems to, explode. Like it happened in 2002. Then happened again like in 2007. But it sounds like you were right after that 2002 boom, where it was just like a reality TV shows of all kinds in there. So you were able to cut your teeth on all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, well, in the beginning for me, I was still focused on casting at this time. Like I was kind of just going through the whole television, whatever I can do, went to start off in the music industry and started PAing on some clip shows. And I was assistant to Steven Seagal for a week. That was terrible.
What did you learn?
I learned that he's too touchy-feely. Me too.
You told Omar too much. He's losing his shit right now. He's losing his shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He became like a cop. He's like a cop, right? In Florida or in Louisiana or something like that.
Oh my God. Like that. Dirty cop.
Hey, Tiff. Can you give me some coffee? Like, back up.
Exactly like that.
Or I'll do keto on you. Hot keto.
Was he Native American yet?
At this time, he was claiming to be African American. Like he had some African American roots, and I was confused as he was talking to me, and he talked down on white people a lot, and I was like, "Damn! This whole time I thought he was white." And then, like, I swear to God, like right on cue, his white wife came to the door and was like, "Honey, blah 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 blah," and I was like, "Okay, what is happening?"
Well,
what is this?
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like he latches on to like ethnicities for periods of time.
The original Rachel Dolezal, or however you say it.
Yeah. Remember, he was like Native American for like a cool minute. Was making movies where he was saving people from reservations.
He definitely was Chinese at one time too, because he has martial arts.
Oh my God, this is so amazing. This is so amazing. Thank you for doing this interview today and informing me that you were his assistant.
Listen, I got so many random moments If you ask the right question, it will come back to me.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
I was working
But
with
yeah,
people
so I was
back
doing
at the time.
reality for MTV for a minute. I was just doing, I was in that Real World franchise and I was obsessed with it and I loved it. And then the other reality started kicking in, the trash reality. So I would leave the sophisticated producing of the Real World and it was so well thought out. It was a machine. Mm-hmm. That's why that show has gone on for so many seasons. It was a very intense post-college experience. And then go to other shows. And I'd be like, what is happening?
I mean, I'm getting paid, but damn.
Yeah, I would be confused because that's when I started finding out that some things were a fake or some things were scripted. And so I would be genuinely confused. I couldn't understand like what they were doing. I was too young to even like, hello, this is fake. They're doing it for the money. It just wasn't landing on me. I'm like, what are they doing? So, and then when I caught on,
crazy.
I was like, oh, I can't.
That's wild. Like not working in TV or anything, obviously like a layman, if you will, in that area. The Real World always felt real as far as like you're just following these people, especially the first couple seasons, like New York, Venice, San Francisco. But all the other stuff, if you pay attention, like if you like watching TV or you're like into continuity, like I'm real big into continuity. So you can watch like what you would consider trash reality shows. And even stuff now that's not necessarily trash, but it's like cooking competitions and things like that. And you see edits that are not in a timeline at all. Like it's from all over the place. Reactions that have nothing to do with what's going on.
Yeah, it's so
things
bad.
Like that. You know, for a while
I feel like those early days of it, like those things that work, that's what everyone took. And then they kind of made a cookie cutter out of it. Like you said, like the Real World, they made you think that it was real. And they had certain techniques that worked. And then all of a sudden, it was the same type of shot season after season after season after season of the same type of concept. And then it gets convoluted. Cooking shows the same way. Oh, shit, this works.
Well, it's always the first one that sticks to its authenticity. Even if whatever the first cooking show is, not to go way back to, what's the lady? And then you got the turkey. What's her name? Julia Childs.
Julia Childs.
Yeah. But a little more advanced, than that. Like the first one is always going to be the most authentic of its kind. And then you have all of these derivatives of it because there's success in it, and TV is still a business, and there's advertisers and marketers and things like that have to have some sort of a guarantee. And so that has been a fight. It's like the higher that I started to go, I started to see like what the fight is on certain things. Like, shows like The Real World and all that, that's still very authentic. I mean, I haven't been attached to that franchise in some years now, but when I left in 2012, it was still a very much authentic franchise. If you missed it, it didn't happen. And God forbid you missed it and something happened, that was probably your fucking job. Because how you miss that? We just documented people's lives, yeah.
Do you think a lot of that had to do with, like you were saying, with casting? Because I feel like the people on those early shows, like The Real World and stuff, they all had very unique and distinct and set personalities. Whereas, to borrow Nigel's word of cookie cutter, like a lot of the, later on it was just like, okay, we're going to have like, let's say for guys, right, on dating shows, it's like, okay, we're going to have the guy that flies off the handle. We're going to have the guy that's like, super dapper, and the guy that's this. It's like these, not necessarily like personalities, but caricatures, or you know what I mean? That's how I feel. That's how
definitely characters, especially on the dating shows. Like you had to the dating shows, you for sure had to have your box of people. I worked on what's that shit called? Date My Mom. And we, you know, we had like certain things. Remember Date My Mom? Date My Mom, The Fifth Wheel. What else was that era? Y'all used to watch that shit. Come on, that was what we watched at that time.
So wait, question.
Eliminate.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that for sure.
So you touched on how it is a business and there are formulas, but how do you come in from on the front end from the creative side? Like from the Mills Ave side, when you guys are setting up something, or like, you know, I'm green to it, so I don't know everything of how it works. Are you guys finding content that works and then creating the system that works? Or what is that creative process from your end, and how does that translate? And then what are kind of those things that you kind of bump up against in the creative process?
Yeah. Personally, and speaking for Mills Avenue Media, I like to take things out of what's happening in real life. Like, for instance, I have a show concept where I'm documenting Black men and women in the LGBTQ plus community, specifically in Atlanta, and, you know, what can go into different cities, sort of using the same formula of the real world, because, you know, that's what I first studied, and I know how that works. But again, what drew me to that was, one, my experience working in unscripted television and having very specifically Black, masculine, gay men telling me, I don't feel seen on television. Why are we represented in this way? So that's the first thing that caught my attention. And then I kind of started diving into the world of the Black, gay, masculine man, and just, that's where the journalism kicks in, and you're doing your research and you're seeing where the stories are, and how, for me, it's always about how it can connect to whomever in Middle America. That's what I believe. That's what I know. Right. That's what I've experienced. I've had random people in Middle America tell me, oh, you work on this show? I remember when, like, for instance, someone from the real world, DM, who suffered from cancer for so many years, but there were people that were drawn to her story of how she was surviving. And these are like folks in Middle America watching your shows. So just remember that who your audience is. People need to feel seen. Everyone has a story that can be told. And then for me, because I'm a nerd about it and super artsy about it, I want to shoot it and have it look like Moonlight or something that is like that aesthetic. Now, are you going to find that on your Bravo or your WeTV or your this or that? No, you're not. And so that becomes a challenge. And what I've found, even with this concept that I have, pitching it out, going to all these different networks, everyone from HBO Max to BET, they love it. They're excited about it. The subject matter makes them fearful. Sometimes these networks don't want to be the first to take on something, because if I'm doing it, it's not about to be making the people look like caricatures, as you're saying, Omar. Right. Like, especially dealing with Black men, especially dealing with Black gay men, you know, anything like that. So it has to have some level of fly artsiness to it. Nice. Now, when it comes to doing all of the other shows, like the things that are on Bravo and USA and things like that, these networks always have their mandate of how they like things to be and how they like things to look. Like Bravo shows look a certain way, VH1 shows look a certain way, MTV shows look a certain way, and they like their characters on their shows to be a certain way. So when I go work on these shows, I have that in mind. I know that's a fact. What I'm trying to find is the cool factor, or how can this show stand out? What can make this show different? It doesn't always work in my favor. And sometimes I go into it very naive. Yeah. Just kind of that's the artist in me, and I just do it anyway. But, you know, it's a very interesting business, because there are not that many producers that care, that give a damn about what they're doing and how they're shooting. There's like 4 of us. Yeah.
And would you say that the majority of people that are being cast in these shows are from like video submissions? Well, I guess now it would have to be right during this time, but because I had always heard that shows like Fear Factor, they just go to bars and like cast people from
bars, bowling alleys. You send things to community centers. Back in the day when I was a casting assistant on Real World, my official job title was dubber. So I would watch all of the VHS tapes that came in and people submitting themselves. And then it would have to pass through someone like me first before going on to the casting director to sort of vet out. So you had to really understand the show and vet out the right people to be advanced.
Damn, it's levels to this. There's so many levels, Tiff.
It's levels.
and
it's
you
layers.
Like adapting it to your business. You made the business model out of it. You're killing it in the game. I mean, how you do it, baby? How you do it?
Jesus.
Jesus brought you there.
8 pound black baby Jesus.
Sweet, beautiful, newly powdered 8 pound black baby Jesus.
Johnson & Johnson baby powdered black ashy booty 8 pound baby Jesus.
He richer than all of us, baby Jesus.
Right.
Because he was giving gold right off the bat.
You get a gold brick. You get a gold brick. You get a gold brick.
And let me just give you a little bit of this frankincense.
And a little bit of myrrh.
And a little bit of myrrh.
Yes. I specifically asked for no myrrh.
And now,
you know what I mean? You're just going to bring that over?
I love it.
Who wants myrrh?
Whoever asked for that.
Wait, can we tell the people that I am a part of the Campapalooza group?
Oh, yes.
Because I want to feel like I'm cooling down. I want them to know.
Well, you are cooling down. Ladies and gentlemen, we've discussed this several times before. There is an annual camping trip called Campapalooza. And Tiffany Mills has been inducted into the Hall of Fame. She has braved the outdoors, and she's out there flourishing with the rest of the Campapalooza crew. And we just want COVID to be done with so we can go back out there and do it some more.
Yep. Lost my shades on the river like a freshman to the camp.
Happens. You saw my expensive shades. I had the headband. I had the shades with the headband. Y'all was clowning me, but I didn't lose my shades that day.
Oh my God.
You know, I just said COVID. Obviously, it's thrown a monkey wrench in all of our plans. I mean, you see the podcast, we're now in our own living rooms interviewing and having a conversation, which is dope in one instance, but it's been a pivot. How have you pivoted with Mills Ave? How have you pivoted in your career and just mentally to deal with this craziness? I mean, shit, it's damn near a year now. It's November. No, it's December.
It's December.
Yeah. We made
it to December. Crazy. Well, you know, I turned down a lot of work. I was not ready to go back to work. So I've just gotten back to work, and you know, it's different. It's a lot of rules. Mm-hmm. But I will say when I was off during that time, it was a lot of up and down feelings during that time. It was like, damn, am I too dependent on these shows to earn money because now everything is shut down? And this is where my income comes from. My whole livelihood is sort of, all of my livelihood eggs are in one basket. And so that made me just reassess that and start looking into some, you know, other means and other streams of income, which you always hear, and everybody with all their little meaningful memes. Oh, you got to have this many streams of income until it comes down to it and you have to get information and really understand what that means. So, that pivot definitely happened. And I'm actually grateful for that, which allows me to be more selective in even the shows that I go work on, because the shows working in reality, it fully takes over your spirit. Like, you are living in people's lives and their marriages and their relationships with their kids. And so you kind of want some time away from that. And things can be really frantic in the reality world. And things happen and change very fast. Like, we can have a whole plan of what to shoot the night before, and because it's reality, something happens, you then have to follow that. So what I've learned and what I'm bringing to the show that I'm working on now is that it just ain't that serious. And so I tell my producers that, like, one of my production manager told me last week, he was like, I had an anxiety attack about whatever we were shooting with episode 1, and I was crying. And I'm over there like, really?
Are you?
Like, I don't want you to feel that way. People are dying.
People are dying right now.
Like my whole vibe has changed. I'm like, unless
it's not that big a deal.
Stop tripping. Like, stop tripping. Like, call me and let me know that you're tripping. That's completely opposite of how I was 365 days ago producing a different show. Yeah. I was like,
right.
We got to get this done. You know what I mean? It was like that. Now I'm like, fuck it. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's going to get done. We have to stay safe. I don't want us moving hella fast, because once you start doing that, you start getting lax and forgetting to keep your distance from people. You stop eating, because I will very much get into a zone and be like, damn, it's 8 o'clock. I haven't had a bite of toast or a sip of water. You're just in your zone of working and creating. And so what I'm trying to now influence my team to do is, like, just take a step back from that. And we don't have to be like that. It's all good. Like, one of my producers, for some reason, his trainer has scheduled his training time in the middle of the afternoon. And I'm like, that's when we're supposed to be on Zoom. But it's at the same time, it's like, you know what? You need that self-care. You go do your cardio for an hour, because, we're going to be there when you're done. It's the same shit is going to need to get done. Yeah. So I think that's how COVID has had me pivot a little bit, just to be a little bit more like, it ain't that serious.
That's a good thing. I mean, if you spend your life going 100 miles per hour, you're bound to run into something. So, pump the brakes a little bit, kind of regroup. And if anyone wants to work for Tiffany, that's a good boss.
Hey, that don't mean your shit ain't gotta be tight though. You can be lax, but it gotta be right.
But you gotta get it done.
You gotta get it done.
Don't you fucking mess up.
You can take an hour off and go do your cardio, but you better come back with shit.
Buffness and the project ready and done at hour and 15 minutes. Boom, you ready to roll. Where you at, brother? You buff? Okay, good. Back to work.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So how did you end up working with Netflix on their hit show, Hustle and Flow? No, it wasn't.
Rhythm and Flow.
It was Rhythm and Flow. Yeah, it's hard. I did. For a podcaster, trying to keep everything together.
Oh shit! Everyone makes that mistake though, so it's all good.
They said hustle. Nope, that was a movie. So yes, Rhythm and Flow.
Rhythm and Flow. Okay, so Rhythm and Flow came about. I think so I have an agent. So my agent was trying to get me in there, and I think I was submitted through my agent. But what's better than an agent? Real homies. I had some homies that were already over there working in the casting department. And one of my other homies was the assistant to one of the executive producers. And they overheard them saying, hey, we need to bring in a producer that can do this, this, and that. And they were like, have you talked to T.Mills? And they were like,
Nice.
oh no, you know, and so they that sort of happened, and they pushed my credits to the front, and I got in front of the right people, and yeah, I was excited to hear from them, but I turned it down because I was like, I ain't about to do no hip hop reality show. The fuck I look like? You gonna have my friends clowning me out here? American Idol hip hop? No, thank you.
Please don't tell me that's how they sold it. Were they trying to sell
You
it
thought
like
it was
that?
the Jermaine Dupri one.
Did they try and sell it like the?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I was like,
Well,
that's
dope.
what we
I
were
had some
telling
friends that
people. It's
worked on
sort
that
of like
project,
American
too.
Idol on Rhythm and Flow. There's a delay.
It is a little bit of a delay. Yeah, are we back up? You know, it's the
Yeah.
digital world, baby. There's some delays. Spectrum be acting.
That's what it is. It's 2020. That's how we do.
Be acting like Uncle Bob sometimes.
Yeah.
Flicking it on and off.
Relax, Tiffany. It's not that big a deal. It's just the delay.
You're right.
Jesse Collins Entertainment was a part of that project too, right?
Yeah, that was all under the Jesse Collins umbrella. That was my first time getting to work with Jesse Collins, and he's just amazing. I'm so glad that I got that experience, especially growing up in LA, hearing him on 92.3 The Beat.
Exactly.
It was Jesse Collins on the radio, and so that just further goes back to it doesn't matter what lane in entertainment, that shit will all connect in some sort of way. And, you know, being someone who is obsessed, especially in the 90s with radio, TV, and film, to work with him, he's like a legend. And he's studied under legends in television. So
he's
it was fun to work with him.
He's doing everybody's productions. Like, one of my good friends, Janae, works for him. And she's been working for him for a long time, and I used to be able to just sit in the room and just look at the whole process, and I'd be like, damn. And then you'd see the projects that he's working on and the people that are calling to work with him, and it's a young black dude. I was like, oh, this is levels above levels. And when I saw you,
and he can call anyone and say, hey, can I get you to do da 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 da? And with no questions asked, people will be like, yes. I will do that. I will do that for you.
I remember watching the show Rhythm and Flow on Netflix. And
that one was good too.
It was there was a cutscene, and literally you had the headphones on and you were in the back.
Yep.
And you did one of these. And I was like, I know her, that's our girl. Yeah. Lost my mind. People looked at me like, what the fuck?
That's hilarious.
Like, she went camping with us. She famous.
Man. I love that when you get to break the fourth wall sometimes and you can see. That's just what I'm saying. Like back in the day when we were watching MTV and stuff like that and seeing the behind the scenes people, like people need to see that it is a little 5'2" black girl back there, like saying, "Okay, let's do that again." You know,
exactly. Because and unknowingly, you are actually exposing folks to this career. I mean, I remember looking at we talked about the show. I used to watch movies like that. And like Making the Band and all of the behind the scenes, because it was like, yeah, the content's cool, but there's like 50, 40 people behind the scenes that are actually doing a lot of different jobs. And that's what intrigued me a little bit more. But then also, that's why when I look at you and you created your production company and you've done these dope projects, and to learn that you did it from elementary school to now, that's big ups to you. So, you know.
Yeah,
props.
isn't that so nerdy and weird? Thank you.
I have this, hold on. I'm doing this in the background. Yeah, see.
Hey, come on, audience.
Give you your clap. Give you all your clap.
Thank you.
Give it up.
Thank you.
So, I mean, we could talk for days and years on everything entertainment and your background. And I feel like we can go a couple more hours. But this is the Gumbo Pot. We do need to talk about some food and some things in there. So I'm going to start it off. We are in COVID. You are at home a lot. Well, no, you said you're working a lot more now.
I just started back working.
What has been your guilty pleasure food related, or maybe not, during this whole situation?
I don't know if any of my pleasures are guilty, but let me see. I kind of just been. What's been my thing, my go-to sort of? My diet is very temperamental, guys. So
vegan to vegan,
Yeah, it's veganish, non-dairy pescatarian, if I'm being specific. So sometimes I like to create my own little desserts. I like things to feel like they're not so healthy, veganish, or whatever, and still kind of fatty. So I make like little ice cream sandwiches, which are really like coconut ice cream on some, what's this shit called? The little graham crackers with some peanut butter or some banana,
You're trying to confuse yourself to make you think that it's like unhealthy.
Yeah, I like to think that it's really fatty and unhealthy, but it's really like coconut ice cream and fresh fruit.
Okay. That's healthy.
My shit is boring.
That's not boring. I'd eat that if I had it, but
yeah,
I got cashew ice cream. I'm gonna do some things.
I can't believe you can have like the good vegan. Oh my God, my stomach's not hurting at the end of the night.
I think the stomach hurting is part of the best part, especially like.
Oh, is that the part?
No.
Yeah, that's how you know it was good.
Yeah.
So wait, okay, you're in Atlanta. You're bi-coastal, even though Atlanta's not a coast.
Yeah.
I know obviously COVID has kept you in one space more than the other,
Mm-hmm.
but California, Los Angeles, we have all types of vegan, vegetarian options. When I was in school, Atlanta was never on that. I mean, I know they pop in with slutty vegan now.
Yeah, slutty vegan. Clark Atlanta University alumni.
Boom, boom, boom. But what would you say the climate is now? Do you have a lot more vegan options? Is it a lot more readily available? Is it on par with LA, or what's it looking like?
Funny enough, my experience is actually the opposite. Because it is in Atlanta where I can find all of my options because I live in Midtown. But in LA, I live in a food desert. So the closest thing to me is Jack in the Box.
Speak on
it. So I have a very hard time when I come to LA. And I'm going to my parents' house, who my parents, I love them so much. They are interested in my diet and they make sort of, their own little tailored things to my diet, but it is still a lot of fried this and fried that. So, it may not be fried chicken, but they will fry me some cauliflower, which I appreciate, and they'll do it in grapeseed oil.
Tofu, but it was made with some lard and some,
exactly. So
it's in the same oil as the chicken.
It's the same oil as the chicken. And then,
it tastes
maybe
good,
some navy beans. Oh, what is this? Is this pork? Yeah, well, it's pork in there. I got to season it. No, I can't eat it. Just pick around that. It's like it's shredded. How can I
I've been told that before.
It's in every school.
You come out like, my stomach.
Yeah. So my food life is better for me in Atlanta. There's a farmer's market that I'm obsessed with out here. There is this place called Upbeat that gives you these giant bowls, whether they're hot bowls, burrito bowls, salad bowls, whatever, that if it were in LA, it would probably cost me $23. Out here, $10, $12, $13 at the most. And I don't understand what I even ate before this place opened. So, and there are a lot of vegan options around me. And I prefer being out here because I'm in my own space and I'm cooking every day, twice a day, brunch and dinner. Usually.
Right.
Those just smash them together in the center.
Yeah, just smash them together. So yeah, I have a very interesting relationship with food.
Okay.
Well, do you think you've been cooking a lot more since you? No, let me ask the question this way: would you say that you, as far as a home chef, have blossomed more since becoming vegan or going full into it because you have to cook yourself for the majority of the time?
Hell yes. Hell yes. I've learned about the seasonings and the oils and things that I never would have cared about before. And all of that showed up during quarantine. And there would be times I'll be surprised at myself. Even today, like I just made like a salad, but I made like an impossible salad. I used that impossible meat or whatever, and I threw in some shit.
Mhm.
So I had my savory mixed with my sweet because I threw in some cranberries.
Nice.
And I was just like throwing some shit together, not even tripping and not tasting. I was like, well, goddamn, this is good. Like, this is well seasoned. Okay, you did that. Like, you knew how to mix that together. Sometimes I'm surprised at myself. Like, because one of the things I tell my friends or people that are thinking about being vegan or whatever is just like season that shit just like you would meat. You know, don't hold back on your spices and make it taste savory and good, and your mushrooms can get that seasoning.
You can put a little bit of extra on your mushrooms. It doesn't have to be barely any salt.
Right.
A little bit of pepper.
Well,
Right.
It's crazy. Somebody introduced us to like a vegan cashew butter.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and we just continued buying it, and it's it's good. Like there's a lot of really good stuff. It is expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah,
$6.99.
Like in Atlanta.
I'm in Atlanta.
Cashew butter be like $9 in LA.
Yeah.
And then the bargain brand is $8.
Yeah.
Or you can get a tub of Country Crock for like $4.
Don't eat Country Crock, bro. We had this debate.
Oh my God.
$4?
Country Crock now has their vegan version too. And I'm like, no, they didn't.
They were already plastic. I mean, how closer to vegan can you get from plastic? Goddamn.
Was Country Crock the ones that had just the hands in the commercials back in the day?
That was Parquet.
Oh, Parquet. That's right.
Parquet.
Parquet.
Like Parquet.
Yeah. I know my butters.
You better know your butters.
You want to talk about Kerrygold Irish butter?
Hey, Kerrygold is good. I use it.
I know.
So I'm going to ask a question. It's a controversial question around the Black community. There's people on the East Coast that have a whole different thought process. There's people in the South that are ready to fight the people on the East Coast. So I want to know where you stand. Grits.
Salt and pepper, baby.
Or sugar. Salt and pepper.
Butter, salt, pepper. Mix it with my eggs and my sausage, vegan or pork, whatever, don't matter. Stir it up. And every time I put pepper on my grits, you know what I sing? Ain't nothing like black pepper on my grits. Word to the motherfucking
Word to the motherfucking DJ Quick.
Every time. I can't not sing it. I like my grits to turn almost black. I put so much pepper on them.
Well, damn.
Nice.
Well, that's a first. I haven't heard that. It's very controversial.
It looks like asphalt.
You would have thought I asked Omar about taco seasoning. You just banged on us with DJ Quick and your grits. Lord have mercy. Oh my God, this has been amazing.
But I grew up in a household divided. My dad put sugar on his grits and liked them extra stiff, whereas my mom was butter, pepper, and salt and liked them a little more juicy. And it was like, oh my God, are you guys going to get a divorce about this every Saturday morning? Which one do I do?
Hey,
hurry up. If you want your grits to have a little bit of runny, you better get them because now all the water's going to boil out because Daddy likes his to look like plaster when you're pulling it out of the pot, and he's going to put all the sugar on it.
So, okay, wait, where's your dad from then?
Well, both of my parents are from Compton, but my dad's family is from Kansas, and my mom's family is from Birmingham.
Okay.
So
I'm trying
different.
I'm trying to trace this because I've talked to some of my East Coast people, and they always say, well, majority will be like, yeah, sugar in my grits. My grandfather at the time was telling me, like, that he put me on sugar and grits. Obviously, as a chef, I like both. But there's some people that'll kill you Omar will kill you about taco seasoning. Black folks will kill you about.
Listen, I haven't tasted sugar on my grits probably since I was 5, because at that time I knew I didn't like it, and my whole life I never went back. So I don't know what it tastes like, really, with this adult palate. Couldn't tell
You'd
you.
be like, no.
Yeah, I've never had sugar and grits. It's always been savory grits for me.
Yeah, it's always been savory. Mm-hmm.
And Omar loves hominy too. He eats it in his soup.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Okay, that's a little different.
Well, grits is hominy. Speaking
I
of
guess
hominy,
so.
I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
I'm
but
going off
like,
tangent real
But
quick.
you're talking about like a pozole hominy
Exactly.
kernel
It's
as
huge,
opposed
like that
to
big.
like grit.
Oh shit,
Ever,
getting technical.
any of you guys ever seen the really, 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 really bad Mike Tyson movie made with Michael Jai White? It was
I
bad.
think so.
So there's a
What was it
scene.
called? Sweet grits.
It's Mike Tyson.
Right.
It was
Hominy.
it was really bad. So
Hominy,
he's eating, right? He's eating in the kitchen with Customato and their family, and Michael Jai White goes, "What is this, man? I want some hominy grits.
Oh my God, Michael Jai White has come a long way.
I want some hominy grits."
I want some hominy.
So when I heard that, from then on, I was like, hominy grits. That's how I'm going to refer to it. Mike Tyson is my hero, by way of Michael Jai White.
Man, the first time I even heard about grits was in the movie My Cousin Vinny.
Yes,
Because we didn't grow up eating grit. And in My Cousin Vinny, Joe Pesci's at a diner, and the guy's like, he's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Those are hominy grits." And he's like, "Well, what is a grit?" And from then I was like, I gotta find out what a grit is.
Have you,
I love
and
grits.
then
you had good grits?
I've had good grits when you've made them, and then I've had
You're
them in
talking
like
about
pans, stuff like that.
shrimp
but-
and grits that you okay. Like you've had your shrimp and grits, right? I've had them. I'm sure Omar has had them.
Yeah, I've had them.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that on a camping trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I digress. All right, party people. Tiff, it's been a pleasure.
Oh man.
I want to
It's been
definitely
fun.
thank you
guys.
for jumping on with us. We survived not being too drunk.
Right.
Before we go, though, I want you to tell us how we can find you, what's your social media handles, what projects you have coming up, what's going on in T.Mills' world. Oh,
It's
hold
plug
on.
time.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me give you a...
Give her a single. Give her a single.
No, I didn't like that.
Oh, no,
That sucked too. We're just going to go back with the DJ air horn.
Okay. So my social media is, you can find me at Mills Avenue Media on Instagram or T.Mills037 for my more personal stuff. And what am I working on? I'm working on a new show right now. I'm so excited about it. It's an unscripted show, and we call it a co-watching show, meaning you can watch it with family of all ages can watch it together. And it's with NBC and Miss Ava DuVernay herself, her first time stepping into the scripted lane. Yes, so that's going to be very good. And hopefully that will be out next year, 2021, called Home Sweet Home.
Home Sweet Home. All right.
Yeah.
Shit. You go on with your bad self.
Something to look forward to.
Yes.
With T.Mills.
Let me not forget.
Uh-oh.
Also, BTSN Network, please, the Behind the Scenes Network. Everything that we're talking about here, about creatives and how we create. I sit on the board of this new network called BTSN, and you just download the app. It's just like a Netflix or any other app that you would download, and there's content there, from, I think Federal Star has a show there, and then I had my own little pop-up situation there. And any other behind-the-scenes content
Tell
that
us
you want.
about this pop-up situation. You can't get off.
Yeah, what is this about?
BTSM Pass. Unlimited, unprecedented, unapologetic access.
Okay, so I started doing this little show called The Pop-Up in quarantine because I just wanted to check in with my different friends and see sort of how they were dealing with sort of our industry and quarantine and just popping up on them where they were. And, you know, there's an episode where I'm talking to a few female producers that work in unscripted and how they were shifting. That was right at the beginning. So we're talking about digital producing and what that was like. That was very weird for them. They were some of the first to do it on a lot of the shows they were working on. And then I talked to Henny the Business, our guy, Morehouse graduate, talking about his shift because he's had a crazy shift during quarantine, balance of family and working in the music industry. And I checked in with the family that was on a Bravo show that I did, and that was just about just being Black in reality and just being regular Black. Let me like a regular Black person, Black family doing reality on Bravo. What that experience was for them. I love them so much. So yeah, you know, some fun stuff to do and just a way to get content up on this network that is just really about celebrating creatives and sort of what we do behind the scenes and how we make things work. So yeah,
Well,
that's
dope.
it.
She was about to get out of here without even telling us about this project.
I know. My bad.
Blame it on the
I know, because she's one ahead of us.
I know. She finished the second one, and I just finished mine. You killing us tonight.
Yeah. Now tripping.
With T.Mills, I definitely want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to hop on with two knuckleheads and drink and kind of just download us on your story. Before you go, though, can you leave us with a pearl of wisdom or a little tidbit of knowledge that you would give to the next young person that is coming up, aspiring to be like you, the young lady that from elementary school was on her Grizzy?
Yeah. I would just say it's okay to be relentless and take your personality with you wherever you go. That has been what's worked for me. It's also been what's not worked for me sometimes, taking your personality to certain places. But in the times that it didn't work, I learned from those times. So being exactly who you are, just take that with you on every gig. And that's it. Don't do it for the money because it ain't gonna be there right away.
It's gonna take some years.
It's gonna take some time. Yeah.
You're gonna have to work
check,
at the reception desk of Violator Music for some years to even start to scratch the surface.
Dodge a couple bullets, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Learn. Go get some coffee.
Go grab
Diet Coke, cigarettes. You know,
Wait.
Yeah, you know, don't be too good for any position.
You have to work with Steven Seagal when he was Black.
Oh God.
Oh.
I'm never gonna forget this. I'm gonna ask you a million questions. I'm
Oh my
just
God.
gonna leave it there. But that's another show.
Offline and over some very green things, we can talk about what that work experience really was.
Oh my God. Or even better, around a campfire.
Around a campfire. There you go.
That'll be on the BTSN network.
Yes, there you go, Omar.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, all right, party people.
Oh, man. This was fun, you guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Again, we appreciate it. And more power to you. Keep on keeping on. Keep on trailblazing. You are a trailblazer. You're the shit. That's all I got. Thanks. All right, party people. That is the Gumbo Pot Podcast, and we're signing off with T. motherfucking Mills.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Oh, shit. L'Oreal dropped off. Cool, man. Well, we're not recording anymore.
Kind of
That was fun, y'all. Thank you.
Man, thank you.
Lori was like, "Oh, y'all talking too long. I'm out of here."